This is the reality of what it's like to go out alone. It's a Saturday night and I'm sitting in my car waiting to find the courage to go back into the bar that I was just in. And the only reason why I stepped out is because I felt like a fucking loser. I've gone to bars and parties by myself, and I do a lot of other things by myself. So I know how to enjoy my own company, and I'm okay with that. But today I put a goal to step out of my comfort zone and talk to people. And I just couldn't help but notice how many people were there with their friends. And they were laughing and they were dancing. And I had FOMO. Like, I started to think about just how much should I actually do alone. And it made me sad. And I'm not blaming my friends for saying no. Like, you have the right to say no. Like, it's okay. But I wish I had more friends. Or I wish it was easier for me to talk to people. So that I could have a friend group to go out and do shit like this with. You know? And I've been sitting here for a while. I don't think I can go back in.
Well, all right. What is up, my friend? This is Real English Radio, and I am your host, Tony Kaizen. And in today's episode, we're talking about an increasingly common issue in today's society, and that is the fear of doing things alone. Or to put it more accurately, the feeling that doing things alone is weird, and it makes you look like a loser. So if you identify with this feeling, then this episode is for you. But before we move any further, I'm going to play that video clip again and explain a few things to make sure you understand the context and the meaning of everything that this young lady said. So just in case it wasn't clear, this girl apparently went to a bar by herself. Her friends couldn't go for whatever reason. And she's saying that normally she has no problem doing things alone. She likes to do things by herself, or at least she enjoys her own company. She doesn't have a problem being by herself. But she set this goal to get out of her comfort zone and talk to more people and be social. But somewhere along the line, she just wasn't really feeling it, was having a hard time being social, and she went outside to her car to record this video. So let's listen to it again.
This is the reality of what it's like to go out alone.
All right, that first sentence, this is the reality of what it's like to go out alone. Now, the phrasal verb to go out has multiple meanings, as I'm sure you know, but in this context, it's very commonly used to describe simply leaving your house to do something, typically something fun. You go out to see a movie, you go out to eat, you go out to a bar, you go out to party, you go out or outside to do something fun, to socialize, to enjoy yourselves, to meet up with friends, whatever it may be. You understand? So she's saying this is the reality of what it's like to go out alone.
It's a Saturday night and I'm sitting in my car waiting to find the courage to go back into the bar that I was just in. And the only reason why I stepped out is because I felt like a fucking loser.
Okay, so she's saying Saturday night, she's sitting in her car waiting to find the courage to go back into the bar. And the only reason she stepped out is because she felt like a loser. So there's a few things I want to explain. The first one, she stepped out of the bar, which is another way of saying to temporarily exit a location. She temporarily went outside. But a lot of times you'll hear people say to step out. Why? I don't know. It's just something that we say, because to step, how do I explain that? Every time you walk, your left foot, then your right foot, it's step, step, step. You take one step and then another step. And if you do that continuously, you're walking, right? You get the point. So she stepped out, which basically just means briefly went outside because she felt like a loser. She felt like she wasn't cool. She felt like she was socially inadequate. She felt strange, like a failure, a social failure, if you will. So then she says she was trying to find the courage to go back into the bar. Now, she describes it this way because she stepped out. And so to return to the bar is to come back in or to go back in. It just depends on the situation. But because she's talking about herself and she's currently located in her car, she would say go back in. If I were still in the bar and I called her, I would ask her, are you going to come back in? Because go from the perspective of the person that's speaking, describes traveling from where they are currently to some other location to go back inside. To come, from the speaker's perspective, describes some other person traveling to where I am located. I hope I'm not confusing you. And it's really not important in the context of the episode, but I'm trying to get you to understand these little details when it comes to speech and word choice. So anyway, she's sitting in her car trying to find the courage to go back into the bar after she stepped out for a minute just because she felt like a loser. So let's continue.
I've gone to bars and parties by myself, and I do a lot of other things by myself. So I know how to enjoy my own company, and I'm okay with that. But today I put a goal to step out of my comfort zone and talk to people. And I just couldn't help but notice how many people were there with their friends, and they were laughing and they were dancing.
Okay, so normally she doesn't have a problem doing things by herself. She goes to bars and parties by herself from time to time. She does a lot of things alone. But today she made this goal. She set this goal for herself to step out of her comfort zone and talk to more people. But when she was in the bar, she just couldn't help but notice how many people were there with their friends, laughing and dancing and having a good time. So this phrase, couldn't help but do something. All that really means is whatever they did or felt was something that was inevitable. Even if they wanted to, or let me say that differently, even if they wanted not to do that thing, they just had to do it for some reason. You can't even really explain why. So when she says, I couldn't help but notice how many people were there with their friends, she's saying all I could think about in that moment, whether I wanted to think about it or not, was how many people were there having a good time with their friends. And I was there by myself. I couldn't help but notice that. I was trying to focus on being in the moment and enjoying myself and maybe talking to some people and being social, but I just couldn't help but notice everyone else was there with their friends. And that's oftentimes the verb that you'll hear with that phrase. I couldn't help but notice this thing. And the person's essentially describing the idea that I was doing something else, or I'm here for a different reason, or my objective was something else, but I couldn't avoid noticing this thing. I couldn't avoid taking this action or having this thought. You understand what I'm saying? It's not the most common phrase, but if you can involve this in your speech from time to time, you'll sound incredibly natural. And hopefully now at the very least, you understand what it means. So let me go back a few seconds. I'll play that again and we'll keep going.
On and talk to people, and I just couldn't help but notice how many people were there with their friends, and they were laughing and they were dancing, and I had FOMO. Like, I started to think about just how much should I actually do alone, and it made me sad.
All right, let me explain just one key expression, I guess you can call it, that she said, because again, she said, I was trying to get out of my comfort zone, talk to people, and I couldn't help but notice how many people were there with their friends, laughing, dancing, having a good time. And I had FOMO. I had FOMO. Now, FOMO is actually an acronym, 4 letters, FOMO. And those 4 letters stand for the phrase, fear of missing out. The fear of missing out. A lot of people will just say FOMO. And essentially what it means is you're afraid, you have this internal fear that you're missing some amazing experience or this opportunity to have fun or something of that nature. So she's looking around, everybody's laughing, having a good time at the bar with their friends. And she's like, damn, I'm missing all of this. I'm here by myself. I'm afraid to talk to people, and I'm missing this incredible opportunity to have fun like everyone else here is having fun. You understand? So that's in that moment, she felt FOMO. She felt the fear of missing out. She felt that she was missing something, missing an opportunity to experience something, you know? So let me play that again.
People were there with their friends, and they were laughing and they were dancing, and I had FOMO. Like, I started to think about just how much should I actually do alone, and it made me sad. And I'm not blaming my friends for saying no. Like, you have the right to say no. Like, it's okay. But I wish I had more friends. Or I wish it was easier for me to talk to people, so that I could have a friend group to go out and do shit like this with. You know? And I've been sitting here for a while. I don't think I can go back in.
All right, so to finish off this video, she said she just started to think about how much shit or how many things she actually does alone, and it made her sad. And she's not blaming her friends. She's not looking at her friends like, it's your fault that I'm alone and I don't have anybody to have fun with. You know, she's not blaming them. She's not mad at them. If you can't make it to the bar tonight, you have something else to do or whatever. It's not your fault. It is what it is. But she just wishes that she had more friends to do stuff like this with, to go out to a bar or a restaurant or a party and have fun like all the people that she saw in the bar that night. And so she ends by saying, you know, I've been sitting here for a while, meaning in her car. She was just sitting there, and she doesn't think she can go back in. Now, remember, go back in is the way we describe returning to the place we came from, which in this case was inside the bar. She stepped out of the bar, and she doesn't think she can go back in. All right. Now, I'm going to leave timestamps as I always do if you want to listen to that clip again uninterrupted. In this case, you can really just go back to the beginning of the episode, just 0 seconds, and play it from there. But now let's move on to the next part of this episode. So this girl, like many people, says that she's fine doing things alone and she enjoys her own company, but she still wishes that she had more people to experience life with. But the problem is that she doesn't really know how to approach and talk to strangers, which obviously makes it damn near impossible to make new friends. I mean, if you're constantly going out and waiting for people to engage with you, then you could very easily end up waiting till the day you die to engage with someone. I mean, literally. Now, there are 2 key things I want to share in relation to this topic. So here's the first one.
If you're the type of person who's scared to do things alone, I want to let you know that you don't look dumb when you do things alone. Everywhere you go, you see a lot of people doing things with their friends. So that automatically just makes you go, oh, maybe I should do that with my friends as well. So now when you try to go somewhere in your free time, the thought of doing something by yourself kind of frightens you because it just doesn't feel normal. But people don't care. People don't care if you go to the movie theater alone, or when you go to an art exhibition or a museum. It's because they're all in their own world, and so should you. Go to those places that you've wanted like you own the place. Because life is short, you shouldn't really care about what other people will think of you. It's too short to miss out on things that you shouldn't have, just because you were kind of scared that you would be judged or something. So just go for it. If it's a bit of a big deal to you, just think that you're taking a little risk, maybe getting out of the comfort zone, learning how to be by yourself. It's a great thing to have the ability to enjoy your own company. If trying to do things alone is not your cup of tea, that's fine, but I just want you to know it's not a big deal. So just have the courage to get out there and have fun.
All right, now the idea that stood out to me in this video was about feeling like you're supposed to be doing things with other people. If I want to go to a bar, a concert, or even a foreign country, I need to go with some friends. Especially in the digital age where so many people still think and act like they're in high school because they spend too much time on social media and not enough time in the real world. And what I mean is that for a lot of people, if you're doing something alone, it's because you have no friends. And if you have no friends, then you must be weird or boring. And if you're weird or boring, then we should make fun of you and stay away from you, just like high school kids do. And this is where the fear of being seen doing things alone comes from having internalized the idea that being cool is what's most important in life. And in order to be considered cool, you have to have a group of people who think you're interesting or fun enough to spend time with. And you have to be seen spending time with those people. But there are 3 problems with this idea. The first one is not everyone is going to think you're cool. So living your life in search of that approval is just a waste of time. The second thing is just because you see other people spending time together at bars or concerts or whatever place, doesn't actually mean they're friends or that they're even having fun. There are some people that can only spend time together when they drink or do drugs. And without those things, they would never hang out. And those are the same people you probably envy, because you're judging the situation from a distance without really knowing the true nature of their relationship. And the same idea applies to romantic relationships and families as well. And the third thing wrong with this idea is that most people are not thinking about you at all. The idea that everyone is judging and are laughing at you for doing things alone comes from being overly self-conscious and paranoid. And even if someone is laughing at you for having no friends and going out alone, you've got to stop and ask yourself why you would be worried about being judged by a fucking loser like that in the first place. Now, here's something else to consider.
Struggle with going out by yourself or doing things alone. One thing that's always helped me was, am I gonna miss out on life experiences because people can't go? Like, when I wanted to go do something, but I was too focused on the company, I would miss out on things that I wanted to go do because I was prioritizing the company. If you can't have fun alone, you're not fun. Like, I want to have fun. I'm going to do that shit. If my friends can't go, cool, they can't go. I'm still going to go. I want to go experience something. And I don't put too much thought into it. Like, when you start thinking too much about it, you're ruining the fun. Anytime you think too much about something, you're ruining the fun. Just go do it.
All right, now there are two key ideas in this video. And the first one is really a question. He asks, am I going to miss out on life experiences because other people can't go? And this one might be a question of personality type, because I'm not an extrovert, but I can imagine that for most extroverted people, the idea of going somewhere and doing something alone is off-putting. And it's not that they're afraid of doing something alone. It's just that doing it without having someone to talk to and interact with just sounds boring. Whereas for many introverted people, there's not always a need to have people to interact with, especially strangers. But regardless of your personality type, I think the question is still a simple yet profound one. Am I only going to do things when I have someone to do them with, simply because I'm afraid of being seen doing them alone? I mean, if that were the case, your life would essentially be dependent on other people having the time and desire to hang out with you. And if you don't already have those people, just imagine how boring and uneventful your life would be. Now, one thing that's great about truly extroverted people is that they don't have much of a problem interacting with people anywhere they go. So even if they do decide to go somewhere alone, they'll end up talking to anyone who crosses their path, increasing the chances that they make new friends to hang out with. And this is a simple yet life-changing behavior that introverts can adopt to become more confident, charismatic, and in your case, a better English speaker. But I'll revisit that idea in a future episode. Now, the second key idea from this video is that if you can't have fun alone, you're just not fun. Now, first, we should acknowledge that there are different kinds of fun. And whether or not you need other people for a particular activity to be fun doesn't necessarily make you a fun or boring person. For example, I don't mind kicking a football around by myself, but it's really not that much fun. I prefer to play an actual game of football with other people. That's just much more fun to me. And does that mean I'm boring? No. So the point here is that it's simply not a good thing to be too reliant on other people for your happiness or sense of life satisfaction. If the only way you can have a good time is by being with other people, maybe it's that they're the ones who know how to have a good time and you don't. And again, this could be a question of personality types, introverts, extroverts, ambiverts, I don't know. But learning how to have fun and enjoy yourself regardless of who's around is what will make you a fun person that other people want to be around. At the end of the day, doing things alone does not make you a weird person, bro. And doing things with other people does not make you fun. The point is that waiting for other people to give you permission to have fun is going to make your life much more boring than it has to be. And life is short, man. I just doubt that most of you listening would want to get to the end of your life only to realize that you missed out on tons of memorable experiences just because you were afraid of looking weird.